Hello. I'm going to be looking straight into the sun for this video, but I'm really looking forward to it. Should maybe get rid of this twig. So yesterday I made a video about the drought in Namibia, and I asked you guys to leave some comments and see what you would change in the culture and what you would change in the way we do things to help mitigate against these things. And I asked you to leave comments, and this is what I got, and I'm very excited about this video. If you didn't see the video yesterday, I'll leave a link below it, but basically what it comes down is Namibia is very dry. What can we do about it? And these are the comments, and I would love to discuss them with you. Okay, so the very first one, Moon Hunter, said, my daughter suggests first grow trees and dig swales to improve the land, then get the animals back. And so that is basically what we are doing. We are getting rid of all the animals except for the horses, digging swales, planting trees, and then we are bringing the animals back. So Moon Hunter, thank you very much. Thank you for that comment. I think that will definitely work. Okay, the next person said was Regar Boy, just said whoa, dry. Yes, it is very dry. Then the next one, Casper Yensen. He said the long-term solution is turning away from animal production into vegetable and plant production. Now, I want to read the comments on top of that. So basically what he's saying is get rid of all the animals, plant vegetables and other plants. And I'm wondering whether he means for the whole country or just for this farm, and whether he believes it's a long-term solution for the world to get rid of the animals and just focus on vegetables. So maybe Casper, maybe you can just tell me what you mean by that. Moon Hunter then below said partly, and Steve Johnson said I suggest that all animal production basically never exceeds the carrying capacity of the land. So if you're able to carry 10 animals on your land, you should put 8 there. 10 cattle, you should put 8. That way you know you always have something spare. And this I wanna address the whole idea. Getting rid of animals completely out of any system, I don't believe is the way to go. I believe animals were placed on earth for a purpose, and I believe if we are basically the conductors of nature, if we can move them or keep them curled up or do something with them, then if we use them in the correct way, then they become a valuable asset. It's like saying get rid of all the humans, because humans cause damage. I think rather retrain the humans and they will cause positivity. Then Steve Johnson said, so never exceed the carrying capacity. Now I want to say that whenever you put animals in a confined area, like chickens in a coop or pigs in a sty, you are exceeding the carrying capacity. In our country here, horses and zebras and donkeys almost always exceeds the carrying capacity. Whenever you have a horse, a donkey or a zebra, even though zebras are from here, they exceed the carrying capacity. They eat everything. Goats almost always exceeds carrying capacity. So my solution is to have them either curled up, feed them like that, and then the things have got a chance to grow, or to move them in a tractor system. The other thing that, what is that guy from Zimbabwe, Alan Savory, what he suggested is, what he said is, put 300% the amount of animals on your land. So if your land can carry 10, then you get 30. And you place them in a new place every day. So you have 300% the amount of animals that your land is supposed to be able to carry. And then in his experiments, his land actually got more fertile. But it's a very intensive process managing them. Chickens on land, they almost always exceed carrying capacity because a chicken eats everything, especially everything that's young and green gets eaten. So they need to be cooped up and moved or contained in order for them to, unless you place one, but I mean you cannot make a living farming one chicken. Okay, next, that was very interesting. City Montessori School. So somebody that works with children, fantastic. I'm wondering why you aren't concentrating on arid area crops such as mongongo nuts, cactus, or some Australian trees that give edible seeds. Yes, I believe that we should. I'm planting prickly pears, I'm planting marulas, I'm planting some of the native vegetables. The biggest problem with things that we can plant that fits in our climate is that there's no market value for them. So I plant marulas, for instance. Marula is a little ball fruit. It's got a little bit of flesh around it. Grows fantastic tree. It's a fantastic tree. There's medicinal value. There's feeding purposes that you can feed it to the animals. The main problem is it's almost impossible to make money from it. And you know, it's nice to have just food for your family, but it would also be nice to be able to take your wife to a restaurant one day, or to buy a new car, or to afford medical insurance in our country where the medical system is past. So a thing like a mongongo nut you cannot sell to anybody here. There's just no value in them. So we have to find a balance. I agree with you wholeheartedly. We are looking at palms. One of our users on another video from Saudi Arabia said, why don't you specialize in date palms? And I think that's a wonderful idea. Date palms will give me shade. It will withstand the cold, it will withstand the heat, and it will withstand the drought. And I believe we will have a market for dates as well. It's a long-term plant. So maybe my children will get the benefits from that. But I wholeheartedly agree. Focus more on things that suits our climate. But we also have to look at the market value of things. Okay. Then line in the sand says, pray La Nina brings us rain in 2013 was bad decade drought, which seems to be the cycle. So they said from 2013 until now was a drought cycle, up and down cycle, and they believe things will change, but we have to pray that La Nina, which is the climate phenomenon between us and South America, hot and cold water basically in the ocean, brings more rain. So yes, I agree, praying helps definitely. Pray and work. So you work, you plant your thing, you do the work, and then you pray. Work without prayer is very often ineffective, and prayer without work is very often ineffective. So do the work and then pray over it. Okay. Then Corey with some letters behind it said, I don't think the solution they proposed on partial solution of wildlife culling to feed the drought-stricken people is any solution at all. Ecological effects, culling becomes a standard practice in countries too. I'm grateful, so grateful to see a channel talking about. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the compliment of being grateful that I talk about these things. The solution that he's talking about is our government is planning to cull something like 600 animals, big things like elephants and rhinos and elephants and buffaloes and things that's normally endangered, and feed that to the hungry people. But what he believes and what I believe as well is that this is a election election thing, because the people that they're trying to feed doesn't necessarily need it, but it's in areas where they struggle with the election, so they want to use that as an election promise. I also don't believe that's the solution. I believe that if they started with that 5 years ago, they gave that to private hunters, the private hunters would then get money from outside, as well as when you get a private hunter in from outside, he hunts the elephant, for instance, but nobody takes elephant meat to America. They supply that to the locals in any case. So there's a lot more money coming into the country. That would have been a lot more effective than just going and culling everything and just feeding it to the people. Once the rain comes in, your grass will reappear. Unfortunately, the rainfall has become unpredictable. In the meantime, the damage to the land becomes more desperate. I do think you need to reduce your animals to the minimum numbers that you can maintain. Even if the rain comes tomorrow, you are weeks away from adequate grass. I feel for your workers. Yours work hard, but the grass is not there. They know you will not pay them if they have no work. Yes, our rain, that's one of the main reasons why we are reducing our animals, is because even if the rain comes tomorrow, if your grass is like this, the animals chop it off, then you lose everything. That's what I believe happened to a lot of our land last year. Even with the scarce rains that we did get, we had the sheep walk around freely, and so they killed everything that just came out. And I think that was the big problem with most of the country. My workers do work very hard, very, very hard. I cannot explain to you exactly how grateful I am for them. But yes, if we have no work, if there's no work, then there's no way I can pay them, then they don't get paid. It is true. It is. It's just a fact of life. So, and they know it as well. If they are grateful for their jobs, and that's one of the reasons why they work so hard. And in turn, I'm grateful towards them. Fiona posted, you posed a huge question. In terms of solving the impact of drought, it has to start with capturing every drop of rain you get, either by soaking it directly into the land pit swales head, or by directing the rain where it does come into storage. However, if you want to do something at scale, a nation in trouble, then where I've seen it work at scale on other YouTube, there has been commitment, involvement by the whole community, usually a village, access to land agreement, to use common land, a sympathetic landover, and sometimes support from government in some form and or NGO development agencies. What you are doing on your own land is great and demonstrates what can be done, but it needs replicating many, many times in Namibia. So maybe the question is who you demonstrate it to. Bring them to see what has happened after the rains, the local community, other local landowners, key people in your local government. So what she's saying is either I have to start a whole movement around permaculture, or I have to be good enough in this land and then bring other people in to come and see it. And so it's not a short-term solution. I agree with both of those things. I have to become better at what I do, and then I have to bring people in, and then maybe that will then turn into a nationwide movement. Okay, then Grace Alonso said, I guess water conservation, like they are doing on the Great Green Wall, Zai pits on public land scales, try to make sure everybody is educated on sinking water into the landscape. Yes, I believe I also need to start somehow, we need to start somehow educating people on sinking water, on the benefits of sinking water into the landscape. Maybe get school tours or something and start with the young children. And so then it's a 20-year solution. They only do it when they are older. But they're more able to influence when they are young. And if you get teachers, then maybe they will teach for the next 20 years. So the way Bill Mollison spread it, his thing is he didn't train single people. He trained people to train other people, which I believe is a very nice way of doing it. It's also the way Christianity spread. There's only 12 people trained in the beginning, and they then spread that to the world. Okay. Nick Clinton said, Danou, I'm saddened to hear that you are giving away your animals. I will keep your family in my prayers. Thank you very much, Nick. We are sad about the animals, but we are also happy and excited about the prospects of planting and healing our land. The last animals has just been sold now 15 minutes ago. They will all still be here for another 2 weeks, and then we will move them to their new home. So on the one hand we are sad, on the other side we are very excited, and prayers for our family. Thank you very much, that's always appreciated. Hey, maybe try planting drought tolerant trees and plants underneath the trees to create somewhat of an ecosystem. Here in Israel, olive trees thrive like crazy even though we barely have any rain. Also, eucalyptus thrives in our climate, but is considered an invasive species. Though I think in your situation invasive is a good thing. For small plants, I'd say aloe plants. I'd grow them on my balcony. Many times I forget to water them. But they don't mind. Even everything else dies, but olives. Yes, I also have 2 species of olives on my balcony too. Elephant tree, that is the spekboom. I don't know what you call them there, but I saw you using them in your videos, scarring them and dropping them. And aloe, even moringa dies. As for water, I really suggest using drip irrigation. Now the Israelis, this guy is obviously from Israel. The Israelis invented the drip system, which I don't know if everybody knows, but okay, so using drip irrigation like Netafirm, yes, the system costs money, but in the long time the water you save is priceless. If you have fog, no, we don't have fog at all. Maybe once a year in your place, maybe put some fog catcher systems, which is interesting. The fog system is so interesting. We have a place in the desert called Swakopmund, and it's one of the foggiest places, but it's dry desert, but it's one of the foggiest places in the world. So these fog catchers will not work here, but they will definitely work there in the desert. We are in our WhatsApp group between the Namibian permaculture guys. We always discuss how we can turn that part of the desert that's really a desert, how we can turn that into green land. And I actually think that the redwood species, American redwood species, would grow there in the desert, because the amount of fog that gets pulled in from the sea is so much that the redwoods would actually grow there. So we are, just an idea to play with. We are thinking about that. As other comments have said, you need to prepare water catchment areas en masse in preparation for the rain, but just as importantly, you need to get lucina or something similar to provide shade and mulch and pull up nutrients from deeper in the soil. Pointless catching rainwater unless shade and mulch are in place as quick as possible. Yes. Okay, so we are building swales left, right and center, except for that secret project that we are working on here. We are focusing on zai pits as much as we can, as fast as we can, to catch water. Every day we try to do one. Lucas has just been off lately, for the last 3 days now, since we had one of the houses that we look after was ransacked. They stole the lights and the geyser pipes and the taps, and they stole even 5 of the doors inside of the house. And so Lucas is living there just to prevent it from being vandalized even further. He's living there 24/7 now until we find somebody to take over there completely. And even today he was in the house and 2 guys came into the yard trying to see if there's anything that they can steal. But yeah, I'm missing the point. Point is catch rainwater, plant shade trees. I agree 100%. Now this is probably my favorite comment from Minxie Minx. She said, he or she, not he, she, I'm not into pronouns, he or she said, no idea, but just take one small step at a time, or rather one swale, one hole, one dam at a time. And this is something that I often forget. Even my video missed the point completely. Trying to change the world. And this person said, I don't know what the solutions is, but I know these things work. I know swales work, I know a hole work, I know a dam work, and I know you should do one at a time. And I agree. I very often try to focus too big, and I should bring my things in smaller and focus on smaller things. So Minxie Minx, I think you've got the winning. I'll give you a heart right now. I think you have the winning comment here. Okay, then Kevin Ryan. I don't have any solutions. I think that too much ownership by individuals instead of communities has us fighting among ourselves. There needs to be balance. I think demonstrating good stewardship is what should give people more rights to make decisions about usage. If you can show enough people your success with restoring eco-health, then hopefully more people will self-educate. There's so much to break down in this comment, and I'm very grateful for it. I'm gonna try not to make it too long. And this is the very last comment, and it's only been posted 1 hour ago. Too much ownership. He believes that the solution is community. Now, our worst affected areas is where communities own the land. There's something, and I'm not sure if that is what the phenomenon is called, but I think it is, the tragedy of the commons. When you have one piece of land and everybody's got sheep, nobody's going to sell the sheep first, everybody's going to graze it. And because the idea is, if I don't graze it finished, that guy's going to have 10 sheep, he's going to graze it finished. The land's going to get finished anyway. I might as well grab my piece of the pie. Personally I believe in private ownership of smaller blocks of land. And then there's one thing he said, I think demonstrating good stewardship is what should give people more rights to make decisions about usage. Now currently our system measures good stewardship in monetary value. So if I'm a good steward of my business, I have more money to show for it. If I'm good steward at farming, I have more money to show for it. I wonder if there's a system where you can measure good stewardship in a growth of trees or abundance of earthworms, for instance. That would be so interesting if we could measure good stewardship instead of measuring good stewardship like we're currently doing automatically with money. If we could measure good stewardship on land by the amount of earthworms you have in every square, or the amount of mulch you have on top of your land, or something like that. But I personally think private ownership is a much better solution than common ownership in any way. Common land gets abused in this country, and I believe in all countries, common land gets abused way too much. Right, that is probably the longest video I've made in a while, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for your comments. I work for comments. Please leave a comment, and I will see you next time. Have a wonderful day.